All right, hey everyone, this is Nick from Mecha Warehouse, and today we're back with the August monthly recap, or maybe it's the August-September monthly recap. I don't know what we'll end up calling it, what the title will be, but it's a little bit late. We did the news video a couple weeks ago, so that kind of set back the video schedule a little bit. And this might be the norm going forward, just trying to balance everything. Maybe a monthly recap isn't necessary if there isn't a bunch of stuff happening in that month. For the last 6 weeks, though, there have been a bunch of developments, a lot of things going on, so good time to talk about all these things. First up, this coming Sunday, which will be in the past from when you're probably seeing this video, is Patcon, which is an IPMS show down in Massachusetts, Hudson, Mass, I believe. So I'm looking forward to going down to that. Maybe bring a couple models. I'm not quite sure yet what I'm bringing, but I'm going to try to do a vlog and shoot some content while I'm there. We'll see how that goes. Be flying solo on that. And so it'll be interesting to figure out how all that goes out, but maybe later this month or early next month, there'll be a vlog and some content around that event. Always a good time to see the crew down there and really looking forward to it. Next up, kind of one of the biggest things is we are hiring. And so if anybody who's keeping score at home is probably thinking, oh, they just laid people off, what's going on? And if you recall from that monthly recap, when I talked about all that stuff, I mentioned Alex putting in his notice right around that same time. Ryan, who is a part-time kind of per diem person for us, stepped up and filled that gap because Ryan works in the schools and is quite available during the summer, which really helped us keep going while we were trying to figure out what our long-term plans are. And as things are kind of solidifying and stuff like that, and then him going back to school, it's apparent we need a little bit of help, a little bit of part-time help in the warehouse. It became especially apparent the week immediately following Labor Day. We ran a Labor Day weekend sale, and so the shorter week plus the extra order volume from the sale resulted in there being just enough stuff going on that Sean's been very busy trying to keep things going. A lot of packing by himself. We still have Chad coming in when he can, but he's part-time, so that there's some limited availability there. And just having that extra day or two a week of somebody being able to help pack orders and help out with stuff around the warehouse would go a long way to help keep things flowing smoothly and help us not get as backed up when volume spikes up. We're able to kind of maintain status quo right now. And Ryan's done a great job stepping up, helping out kind of off hours a little bit, coming in to do stuff like restock shelves and help with things like that. But having the ability to have a little bit more help during the day would be good. Just a few days a week, trying not to go all the way back up, if that makes sense. So that's kind of the why behind all of that. So trying to fill that position. So if you're local or know somebody who's local who wouldn't mind working a day or two a week, I think Monday would be the ideal day, because usually we got to catch up from the weekend and then probably another day during the week, but we could potentially be flexible with that depending on the candidates. So if you know anybody who's local and wants some part-time side work related to Gunpla, that would be great. Send them our way. We'll have a link down in the description about that. Moving update. So we still don't have anyone to take over the lease here yet. There's been, I think, a bite or two in terms of leads from what I've heard from the real estate person who's taking care of all that side of it for us. It could take us another month, or it might take months, I'm not sure, but we're still working towards trying to be as ready as possible for that move. A lot of that has been the moving sale, still ongoing. We're doing 30% off select items. We've been adding stuff 2 to 3 times a week to that sale collection, trying to find those items that are either we've got so many of them that we don't want to move all of that inventory over with us, or things that are maybe slower moving that I'd rather sell than expend the effort and cost of packing them up, moving them, and all that kind of stuff. We're trying to streamline. The hope is that by the time we're ready to move, we'll be at just the right amount of stuff to make sense in the new warehouse, and trying to operate in a leaner way going forward, so we don't have as much inventory that doesn't move fast enough We want everything, all our capital turnover fast enough so that way we can keep getting the stuff people really want and be as efficient as possible so we can continue in the space as long as possible. So that's been going pretty well. We can definitely see changes in the warehouse in terms of that inventory space opening up, which means that hopefully by the time we get that business ready to take over this lease and take over the space, we'll be able to move out and have just the right space, right stuff, and have that all make sense. The other update for Discord members, we are planning on, and I don't know, probably won't be up and available for offer yet when you see this video, but hopefully soon, we are doing a limited edition run of the first 5 years of the Discord Challenge coin in a special gold finish. We've got a special custom acrylic display stand we're going to have made. Got samples in earlier this week. Came out really good. The sample looks really good. There's a few tweaks we're making to exactly how the print layout is and stuff like that. But it's pretty nice, and I think really going to add value, be able to get these five coins, display them all. If you're on the Discord, all the details will get announced there in the next week or two once we get all those changes kind of confirmed with the manufacturer and get all of that ready. I'm really excited about that. The whole Discord Challenge coin thing has been a really interesting thing over the last 5 years. Great community there, and kind of amazing that there's some people that invested in the community that they want these kinds of things, to help represent their connection to that community. So that's it for kind of the recap portion of the monthly recap. I do have a couple Q&A questions. As I usually say, if you have a question you want answered, post it down in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer it next week, next month, whenever the next recap is. Always appreciate the questions and help to kind of show behind the scenes a little bit. So first one, this was from YouTube Longest Boy. Appreciate the updates and content as always, Nick. Are there any other hobbies you're into besides model kits? I feel like I have way too many hobbies and I don't actually get to do many of them. I don't consider them hobbies per se, but many of you probably would be karate and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I've been studying Kyokushin karate for 31 years now. So I'm doing that for a long time. I actually run a dojo here in New Hampshire as well. One of the myriad number of things that take up all my time. And so I've been doing that for a long time and really enjoy that. And I started Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu almost 11 years ago. I've been doing that for a long time too. So those both, you guys might consider them hobbies. I consider them more of a lifestyle, just part of my life kind of thing. I was at one point into guitars a little bit, not a lot, and haven't touched my guitar in probably like a year. I should probably change that. What else? There's definitely a few other things that have taken my time here and there, and I wish I could do more of them. Like I enjoy hiking, don't hike very often. Enjoy kayaking, don't kayak very often. And if I had a little bit more free time, I would probably do more of those things, and maybe over the next few years I'll be able to figure out how to find that balance and do more of those kinds of things. But great question, thank you. The other question, this one came from the Discord, Bronwill, I think. Is there a flat target for order research? For instance, must an item hit 10 requests in order to purchase, regardless of which product, manufacturer, etc., or does it vary based on which product? It's okay if you can't answer, just don't want to get my hopes up and then need to find a separate store to get certain things. So what he's referring to is order research. So if you're not aware, a lot of our ordering, especially for brand new products from manufacturers like Kotobukiya, Good Smile, etc., things that aren't Bandai, and new products from Bandai as well, we do order research on the Discord. We post a list of items, their expected release date, cost, maybe a picture or two, and ask people to react using the Discord reacts to give us a kind of thumb in the wind, so to speak, to see how many people want those items. Because otherwise it's really hard to guess other than taking the orders up front. And we've made a big deal about not taking orders for pre-orders until we know how many we're going to get, because canceling pre-orders is kind of crappy, right? We don't want to be that place that takes everybody's money and then can't fulfill those orders. You may have come across one or two of those places in the past if you've been in the hobby for a while. So we're not one of those. So we do this order research and we try to figure that out. In terms of how many we need in order to order, we've been evolving that over the last year, especially the last couple months. Typically, number one, we want to see enough to make sense for whatever minimum orders there are. Some products, some manufacturers have minimum orders. Maybe they require a case quantity in order to order that item. So if your case is 24 of an item and we get interest for 3, we're not going to buy a case if we have to buy a case. It just doesn't make sense. We don't want to have a bunch of stock we can't sell. More recently, we've been adjusting to, even when we can order less than a case, how many does it require to make sense for us financially? And what I mean by that is, because we're an online only store, or predominantly online, we sell things, we got to create product listings, we have to check in, we got to ship, we got to pack those items. So if the amount of effort to check that item in, create a product listing, and ship it out is more than the amount of profit we get for that item, why bother, right? It's cheaper to not do the thing that's going to cost you money. You can't make up for it by selling, stuff that doesn't make you money. The flip side of that, or the other side of that kind of coin is that, so there's a certain amount that makes sense, right? We know what the margin is on a product. Some products, because they're more expensive, that margin, the total amount we make in profit for that item is larger. So a very expensive item might make sense to order 3 of, because we think we'll sell 3, and maybe it's a several $100 item, and we're going to make 100 or more on that lot of items because of that profit margin on them, which is great. That covers the time to do the research and to order it and all that kind of stuff, build the listings. Whereas an item that maybe costs $1, and maybe we only make 50 cents on that item, just pulling round numbers out of the air, doesn't make sense to order 3 of, because if it takes me 10 minutes to build a listing for that product, and I made $1.50, that's not minimum wage. And I definitely don't want to make minimum wage. I want to do better than that. Ideally, a lot better than that, but that's a whole nother story. So that's kind of what it comes down to, is how many do we have to get to cover our expenses to list it, check it in, manage that inventory, store that inventory, etc. A lot of that depends on the price point of the item. Obviously, if something's going to sell a lot and we think it's going to sell a lot, then that's great. We've also, the other aspect to all this is, how do the order research numbers translate to actual orders? Different product lines seem to have different conversion factors. Some, it's a 1-to-1. 8 people in the Discord say they're going to order it, we sell 8. Now, do all 8 of those people exist on the Discord? Couldn't tell you necessarily. But that number seems to correlate. Other products, other product lines, 8 people will say they want it, and we'll sell 2. And so we know everybody who's saying that they're going to order it don't, and if that's the case, then we can't trust that number. So we're trying to correlate that between products, we're trying to correlate that between product lines, whether it's a reprint or a new product, price point, things like that. And we're developing kind of a model for, these certain products. If it's over a certain number, we actually sell way more than anticipated. And other products, if it's under a certain number, maybe sell far worse than what people say. So it's a constantly moving target, and I think some of that's to be expected. People don't have the money when they think they're going to have the money, stuff like that. But there's always an aspect to that, and we're constantly chasing and trying to figure out and understand how to do that better. So hopefully that answers your question. It's a big, complicated problem, and really the heart of how do you run a store that sells stuff, retail, right? How many do you need of an item? You want to have enough to not miss out on sales. You don't want to have so many that you have extras around and you have to clearance them. How many items do you clearance to be worth it for the amount that you didn't miss out on opportunity, stuff like that. It's a challenging problem, and really what makes this interesting, exciting, and stressful. So that's it for questions. If you have a question you want answered, like I said, post it down in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer it next week, next month, next whenever the next video is. Thank you for watching. See you next time.